If you are a fan of Scotch single malt whiskey, and you're in the US and you don't have a ton of money to spend, things are kind of ugly right now. On the budget end of things, let's just say under $40. There's not a lot out there that's particularly recommendable. You got a couple of Glenmorys maybe, but even those are, they're 40%. They're not amazing. You got Glenmorangie, 10 or 12 or whatever it is. That's still okay. Occasionally stuff will go on sale. I have seen Benaroma 10 on sale. That's pretty good. But there's just not a lot out there in that kind of sub $40 range, at least from Scotland. However, there is an alternative, potentially, in the form of American single malts, which are starting to get interesting. They're starting to finally come online in force. So today I thought I would review 3 of them. All 3 of these are on your local shelves here in Illinois, and I assume near you, for under $40. And just because I have it and I want to review it, I'm also going to throw in this, which is not $40. This is $50. But yeah, kind of in the same spirit. Let's get these poured, and we'll start some reviewing. Now, I don't think you should grade American single malts based on their similarity to Scotland or Ireland or Japan or any of that. I think they're best when they are trying to go off and do their own thing. However, that being said, there are family resemblances there. And I do find that folks who like one category, they'll probably find stuff to enjoy in the other. There we go, glug, glug, glug. And I should add a lot of these I was not going to buy until I tried them at a recent American Single Malt Festival here in Chicago. And yeah, there are a lot of good ones. There are a lot of good ones these days. All right, finish pouring. Good enough, close enough. Let's get started. Okay, we will start off with probably the most mysterious thing here. This is Bear Fight, American Single Malt Whiskey. And I say mysterious because Bear Fight is not a distillery. Bear Fight is a brand under Next Century Spirits in Zebulon, North Carolina, which I think is just outside of Raleigh. And these people are not a distillery. They are, I don't even know. Like, the website looks all kinds of, like, weird and branding oriented, and, like, it looks like they're trying to get some venture capitalists in or something. But it just, anyway, in any case, it does say produced and bottled by Next Century and not distilled. So I'm assuming they're sourcing this from somewhere. However, I do not care because this is bottled at 45%. It's marked as aged for a minimum of 3 years. That's good. And it is a single malt, so it's all from one distillery. And it is 45%, which is way stronger than what you tend to get from Scotch in this kind of price range. So it seemed like it was worth a shot. I don't know much else about this here Bear Fight. Some guy from Suits is involved, I guess. It says they use 3 different types of oak. There's mention of peat. There's mention of sherry. I don't know. Let's give this a shot. I mean, it's very much like a malt whiskey kind of nose. I am getting some graininess, oatmeal with wildflower honey drizzled on top. I am getting a little bit of, like, mashed pear, a little bit of mashed apple too. White pepper, vanilla. Oh, a touch of like a, what is that? It's not raisin, it's close. Like a dried currant kind of thing. That's fun. Something lightly grassy about this as well. It's not herbaceous, it's more just straight up like a little bit of dried grass. A touch of like powdered ginger as well. It smells soft, smells nice. Like on the nose, I'm already liking this more than like, you know, your monkey shoulders and such. I thought, although it is a little bit more expensive than the monkey shoulder, not much. Okay, maybe a little bit of like a black tea element to this too. You know, like an overstewed Irish breakfast tea kind of thing. A touch of orange peel. If these all sound like just kind of, you know, good old-fashioned Highland style, you know, malt whiskey notes, it's because that's kind of what it smells like. A little bit of like a peach skin thing. A little lemon pith. You know, it smells like a good malt. Basic malt, but a good malt. On the palate, ooh. Yeah, it's got a little something. I think I like this. So the first thing I notice is there is a distinctive peat presence on this, which was not there on the nose. If it's there, I'm not seeing it, at least on the nose. But on the palate, yeah, there is like a lightly peated character. It's interesting. We're not in Lafroig territory by any. We're not even like in like Bowmore territory. This is more like. Well, I mentioned Ben Romack before. That's kind of the peat level on this, but it's not a. Let me try this again. It actually reminds me more of that. What was the Glenallachie blended malt that had the peated cask or whatever it was? It's a little bit of that. Like I'm guessing what I'm tasting is a mix of a bunch of different barrels, one or two of which contain some very heavily peated whiskey, and that's kind of what I'm, because there's a sense of like a heavy peatiness, but it's not that present, if that makes sense. Interesting. Yeah, the peat is the odd man out here, because a lot of the rest of this feels like, again, a very conventional Highland-style whiskey. A lot of the stuff you were getting on the nose. So, pear, apple, oatmeal, honey. Well, more black pepper on the palate than white pepper. Irish breakfast tea. Trying to wrap my head around this. Vanilla, yeah. I'm not really getting the currant thing on the palate that was there, but there's more of a floral component. That's interesting. Yeah, the grassy thing and the currant thing have kind of turned into a floral, lightly herbaceous kind of deal. There's a little bit of oregano, a little bit of like a dill thing. It's pretty darn good. It's young, like it's not. The finish hangs on pretty well actually, but in terms of the mouth length, everything's happening up front. Nothing past the molars. It's all like very, very front, front forward. But it's certainly got some character. I don't know. It's playing with my brain a little bit because the peaty aspect of this peat, there's a little bit of fennel in there, kind of mixed in with the peat. toasted fennel, something like that. An earthiness, something that reminds me more of mainland peat, Speyside peat than Islay. But it's not, it doesn't. That aspect of the flavor profile doesn't seem completely connected to the other aspects, which just feel like very nice Highland whiskey-like. I mean, it feels like a blended malt in certain respects. I mean, it's good. I'm enjoying it, but I'm not sure if the story it tells completely hangs together. But for under $40, I mean, this is walloping the vast majority of the Scotch, not even the single malts, the malts period that you can get at that price range. Yeah. I don't know who these people are. I don't know what their deal is. I don't know where they're getting this from, but I'm on board with this. Okay, let's give it a squirt of water and we'll come back to it. All right, moving on to the distillery that actually, I'm pretty sure they distilled this themselves. Virginia Distilling Company in Lovingston, Virginia. These people have been around forever. Way back in my beginning days, they put out a series of double malts they called Eads, and they were very fun, except for some rather questionable wine finishes. But now they're up and running. They're distilling their own stuff. I tried these two at the Single Malt Festival thing, and some others by them, but these are the two I bought. So they are pot distilled malts, and this is the Cider Finish, although it isn't, and this is the Cabernet Finish, and I have to talk about that too. All right, but Cider Cask Finish. They did have a bourbon cask one. Actually, the bourbon cask Virginias were my least favorite of the lineup, and that's unusual for me. Usually I want the distillate for, but not for these guys. All right, so I bought these two. This is, I don't know the age, but it was aged in ex-bourbon, and it was finished, yes, in cider, in ex-Virginia cider, but also in ex-Calvados and ex-Laird's cask, because the Laird's distillery is just a few miles down the road from them. How great is that? Why do they call it a cider cask finish if it's more of like a apple all kinds finish? I'm guessing it's hard to market things as from an apple brandy cask, so they went cider. So a little bit of fibbery. I'm not bothered. All right, let's see what we got here. 46.5% on this bad boy. Any other information you need to know about? Nope, not that I can think of. Under $40 though. On paper, killer value. Spicy nose. Yeah, this is nippy, actually. I am getting a distinct, well, what is that? Very vanilla driven. I'm very vanilla driven. Vanilla, plus vanilla custard, but with black pepper on it, cumin. Is there apple? Yeah. But it's not the kind of apple you would necessarily expect. This is more like a baked apple, or even like a dried apple thing with a little bit of apple cheese in the background. There's a tobacco element in this too. Virginia tobaccos? You betcha. Appropriate based on, given the name. It's a little bit beery as well, which is not something you might have expected. It smells a little bit like a Bock or something, like a German lager. There is, what is that? I want to say cardboard, but that isn't quite what it is. It's like let's go with, sure, cardboard but nice. It's like it's a cardboard where you had like a delicious dessert inside, and some of the dessert got off on the cardboard, and so you like smell it, and it smells like cardboard, but also a little bit of dessertiness. That's kind of what's going on. Maybe. So a very kind of tricky nose to get your head around. It's very dense. Hard to pick notes apart, but it's there's a lot. It smells like there's a lot there. There's honey, but it's a darker honey, a honeydew honey. Okay, on the palate. So first of all, this smells much more like non-Scottish than the Bear Fight did. On the palate. Very austere. Not given the amount of apple on this. In the finishes, you would expect this to be a little bit of an apple bomb, and it just isn't. It's actually quite dry, quite austere. Not a ton of fruit on this. That being said, I'm enjoying it. Yeah, there's like a little whisper of like apple and pear and like a lighter honey up front. And then it's kind of taken over by a wave of tea leaves, different kinds of tea leaves. There's some Darjeeling English breakfast tea, also a little bit of Lapsang Souchong in there, maybe some oolong as well, tobaccos, Virginias and Burleys, florals, black pepper, a little bit of orange peel. There is a little bit of like a bitter apple thing, almost a cider apple. Yeah, well, cider finish, like a bitter cider apple thing that kind of sticks all the way through. But you really have to dig through the layers of teas and tobaccos to get to it. And a fun like citrus, bitter astringent citrus thing on the back end. Yeah, and slightly grainy as well, leaning more in like a heavier wheat bread direction, like a whole grain wheat that's like super heavy. I like this. So Scotch drinkers might have to warm up to this one. It's certainly not going to hold your hand. This is not one that's going to be like friendly and happy and outgoing with big bold flavors and inviting flavors right off the bat. But there's a lot going on here. I'm very curious to see what water does. I did not get an opportunity to try this with water at the little festival, so we shall see. Oh, and I should say on the mouthfeel, really good mouthfeel, serious finish, but again, you can tell it's young because it stops pretty short in the mouth. Everything that's happening is kind of up front. All right, this is the one I am surprised I ended up buying. It is kind of off profile for me. Virginia Distillery Company, Cabernet Cask Select. This is one that was aged for several years in first world bourbon and then finished in Cabernet Sauvignon barrels from France and California. And normally that would send me, running away quickly because I tend not to like red wine finishes, whether it be ports or Pinot Noirs or Malbecs or indeed Cabernet Sauvignons. However, I did try this and I did like it. So let's see if I still like it. Computer's not cooperating. So I see Cabernet finish, and I go to the nose looking for red fruit and like leaves and green stuff, and that is not what I'm getting. I am getting heavy multigrain bread drizzled with chocolate. Really intense dark chocolate. Yeah, like super duper dark chocolate, grainy, black pepper, a certain ashy character. This is not like dripping wet with Cabernet. They shaved this thing down and retoasted the crap out of it. Yeah, there's like that smell of like a freshly lit cigar just as it's starting to get to burn off. A little bit ashy, but like cigar stuff. A little bit of a darker honey thing coming through here too, like a honeydew honey. So here's an unexpected result. I think on the nose, at least, this is less complicated than the cider cask. There's less notes, but it's also like richer and friendlier, especially if you were a chocolate fan. Not necessarily a cab fan, but chocolate fans, come on over. Okay. Maybe a touch of tobacco in this too, like a black Cavendish on the palate. Is there, like, way in the back of this, like a half-burned strawberry and like a couple of like half-burned leaves remaining from the Cabernet? Yeah, they're in there, but really this is all about, again, same notes from the nose. Heavy multigrain bread, dark chocolate, some black teas, lit cigar ash, black pepper. Did I ever say black pepper? Cinnamon. Oh yeah, cinnamon's big on this. I honestly think like sherry fans would enjoy this. It's a different profile, but it's a related profile. It's very, very close. It's interesting. Gun to my head, again, kind of like the nose, I don't think this is as complex as the cider cask, but I do think this has a deliciousness factor, like an easygoing je ne sais quoi, like a crushability factor that the cider cask does not have. This is something I could hand over to a standard Scotch malt drinker, and they would not be like, what in the heck is this? It's very good. The other plus to this is it's got a little bit more mouth length than these two. These two are kind of right up front here. This is getting a little bit back in my tonsils, which I'm enjoying. All the same, I'd like a little bit more complexity. Water is really going to decide what wins this. All right, squirt of water there, and we should move on to the odd man out. The only thing here over $40 at a cost of $50. This is Balblair, American Single Malt Whiskey, 3 years old. I did not know this existed until I was basically talking with the person at the St. George distilling booth, which I didn't, I've tried St. George Single Malt before. It's one of the originals. I love it. I think it's overpriced, but it's a ton of fun. It's one to try at least once. And I was like, what is this? Because they had a bottle of this sitting here. And they were like, this is our other single malt. Would you like to try it? And I said, yes. And I was delighted when I tasted it. And I was even more delighted when I found out this is cheaper than the basic St. George single malt. So it's 3 years old. Let me tell you what they're doing with this, because I don't know why you would do this, but they did it. It's distilled from 100% American barley, aged in used American whiskey and French oak wine casks, filtered through maple charcoals. There's a charcoal filtering process. And then they finished the whiskey in casks that held umeshu, which is a Japanese stone fruit liqueur. And that is baller from, St. George Spirits. And if you didn't know this existed, now you do. Let's see what we got here. And 47% alcohol, which is higher than the basic, more expensive St. George single malt. Okay, we are in another place. Probably the most interesting nose here. In fact, easily the most interesting nose here. What am I smelling? Okay, so there is a base of muesli and cream of wheat, upon which a lot of other stuff is happening. Apricot syrup? So peach liqueur, sir. There's a little bit of peach in here, but it's like floral peach. It's aromatic peach, along with your apricot. It's almost like peach flowers more so than the actual fruit. Like almost a grapefruit character to this. White pepper. I'm certainly getting a little bit of pear, quince as well. Touch of apple, not very much. Certainly floral. Hints of green tea, maybe? There's a brown sugar component, like a cocteau component, or a jaggery component. Ginger again, maybe? It's something beery, like a really like a red ale or something. Really unusual nose, very fun. I like the nose. This is looking good on the palate. Ooh. One more time. Oh. Okay, so much like the standard St. George single malt, there is a bitterness and astringency in the middle of this, but a pleasant one. It's refreshing. Almost like, the point of comparison would be like a California IPA, leaning in the kind of, ganj-oriented California IPA direction. There is absolutely a big attack of the ganj on the mid palate going to the finish and hanging on through the finish, and I'm kind of enjoying it. It's ganj plus it is the pot, it is the marijuana plus like a peach core component, like fruity astringency, a little bit of peach core, like lemon rind or like lemon seeds even. But it's not there on the arrival. It's really in the mid palate, transitioning into the finish and kind of holding on. The arrival is quite nice. You got that kind of muesli cream of wheat thing. Again, apple. More pear than apple, but a little bit of apple. Some like barley, honey stuff. A little bit of like a lemon peel thing up front. Can I get away from the ganj? Jesus. Some florals, vanilla. Apricot again on the front end. And then, like, really it rolls in with... That's like kind of floral peach thing. And, yeah, like California IPA... Pickled ginger. There's a little bit of pickled ginger kind of in that mid-palate mix as well. Very, very unusual profile, but it's good. Here's a shock. I think I like this more than the standard St. George single malt. At least the last one I had. Yeah, it's got some mouth length on it. It holds on. Like, if you're either going to like that finish or you're going to hate it. It's not... this is not one that's going to have people kind of in the middle, shrugging. This is his own distinctive kind of thing. So let's give this some water, and we'll come back to it. Yeah, so first impressions. If I were, selling one of these to a person who just wanted a budget substitute for Scotch, I would be looking at the Bear Fight or the Virginia Cabernet Select thing. However, I'm not convinced those are the best bottles here. I think, I don't know, I want to try these two side by side, but I think it would be the Baller or the cider one. Anyways, let's go through, give these another run through. Back to the Bear Fight. Bottled by Next Century Spirits, whoever those people are. Yeah, I mean, if you handed this to me and told me on the nose that this was a young Balblair or something, I would believe you. It's just got that profile. It's like a little bit lean with some bright fruit, a little bit of graininess. And that's most of what's going on. I am not getting the peat thing on the nose. Development from before, maybe a little bit more of a sour pear thing happening, but very much where we were basically on the palate. So the peat thing, which was sticking out like a sore thumb before, it hasn't just toned down, it's integrated itself into the profile a lot more with the addition of water. This isn't, so it feels less peaty, but it also feels more coherent, and I think I'm enjoying it more now. It's still there, but it's very much in the background. So yeah, it's imagine like you've tried this profile. Imagine, well, let's go Balblair. Why not? Lean, fruity profile with just a little hint of peat. Not really even coming to the surface that much, but just adding a little bit of color. That's where we are now. And like a little bit of a toasted oatmeal component too. Mouth feels even, the mouth length is even a little bit better now. We're getting a little bit further back in my tonsils. Yeah, absolutely. I will. This is good. A little bit weirded out by the background of this, and also, but I mean, there's things to like. It's delicious. Look at that label. It's got like a textured bear scratch thing on it. This is okay. Can I get to an 84 plus? Is this an 84 plus? You know what? I will be generous. 84 plus on this. Which makes it and especially given the rather, frankly, very Scotchy profile on this. It's not that unconventional. One of the best deals you can get on Scotchy single malts under $40. There you go. Bear fight. Who knew? Let's move on. This is the Cider Cask from Virginia on the nose. Okay, brightened up a little bit. Before I had to fight to get some of that, the appliness. Now it's coming through. It sounds like, but it's still like very desserty in certain respects. That like vanilla custard thing. So you know what it smells like? It smells like you've taken some apples, some baked apples, and you've just like drizzled the Cinnabon topping, whatever it is, on top, and then put a dollop of vanilla ice cream on there for fun. Yeah, that's kind of where we are. The cinnamon thing is kind of coming through on the nose too. Yeah, much friendlier with water. Okay. On the palate. Second one in a row to seriously step up in terms of, like mouth delivery stuff with water. Yeah. Lightens up. Fruity's up. There's still a lot of tobacco in like tea leaves and stuff on this, but they kind of pull back a little bit to let the delicious kind of whole wheat bread meets apple dessert character, like apple crumble character of this kind of shine through. Some cinnamon as well, black pepper, and the mouth length is better. This is terrific. One more time. I'm trying to figure out how high I can get this. Because the mouth presence is there. It's got texture. It's got a very good finish that kind of where stuff holds on very, very well. And with water, it's got the length. It's got complexity. It's got some attack. It's got some some power. It's not the best thing I've ever tried, but for under $40, wow. I will call this, I'll go 85 plus points on this. I think this is lovely. But you do really have to add water, or at least give it some time in the glass. I think time in the glass would do much the same thing to kind of get this to crack open and break a smile. 85 plus for the Cider Cask Finish, which is actually also Calvados and Laird's. All right. Cabernet Select. Let's see what this did with water. So far I'm 2 for 2 on these, stepping up with the addition of water. Maybe that says something about the category. I don't know. On the palate, or on the nose, wait. Yeah, this is another one where if you hand me this exact glass, and just told me it was a sherried whiskey, I'd probably believe you. I'd probably think it was, from some nameless Speyside distillery, like a, post direct fire, like a modern Ben Rins or something. It's got that vibe. Dried fruit, a little bit of ash, tobacco. chocolate, orange peel. Some graininess. A little bit of dried apple, actually. A little bit of apple cheese. Nice, friendly, very Scotchy nose on the palate. So it's not my favorite in this lineup. I don't think it's as complex as the cider cask gets when you throw a little bit of water on it. It still has a little bit of that like burned strawberry thing, that leafy thing. Like I'm guessing from the remaining cab. But like if you are out there spending $70-$80 on basic Glendronachs and stuff like that, you need to grab this. You need to try this because it's a little bit of a different experience. It's not the same thing, but for under $40, this shows up. Very chocolatey. Oh, but very grainy as well. There's some like overstewed tea elements, a little bit of a coffee element to this too. It doesn't have the, so the cider cask stepped up with water more so than this did, but this one already had a little bit of an advantage in mouth presence. What this doesn't have with the cider cask is the extra level of complexity. But still, this is an 85 pointer. 85 points. And very, very recommendable for the price point. So like I said, if you are out there buying your Glenfarclases and your Aberlours and your Macallans and your Tamdus and your other expensive sherried scotches, that's fine. I'm not telling you to stop doing that, but hunt this down. Give it a shot. I think for under $40, you will be surprised and delighted at what Virginia has pulled off here. And last up, the most un-Scottish thing here by a mile, Balblair. So weird on the nose. It's, just smell. If you hand this to me blindfold, I would not call like malt whiskey. I don't know what I would call it. Like liqueur, beer. That's what it smells like. A beer, like an IPA that you kind of put some weird liqueurs into. Sorry. Changes from before. It's a little bit more peppery and spicy. Still a lot of apricot. It's just a weird malt. What can I say? But I like it. Let's see what happens on the palate. Feels in some respects like it's softened up a little bit. It's a little more, velvety on the palate. Not sure if that's a good. It's different. I'm not sure if it's better, but otherwise, it's the same profile. Fruit up front, it's a little bit of maltiness up front, and then like ganj IPA on the back end. with some weird pickled gingery stuff kind of thrown in there too for fun. This is interesting, but I like it. Very weird, very different, but it's good and it's recommendable. I will give this an 85-point score, which is to say I like this more than the basic, more expensive St. George Single Malt. I would tell you to go seek this out. It's $50, but if you're adventurous, I think that's $50 well spent. So, yeah, let's very compact score range today. These were all pretty good. Bear Fight. Bear Fight is way better than I expected it to be, given the slight sketchiness of where this is coming from. 84 plus. It's very Highland Scotchy. There's a big loud peat thing on the palate until you add some water, and then it kind of integrates a little bit better. Yeah, 84 plus. I have no problem recommending this for the price point, and in fact, I think it beats out. I really think all of these three beat out pretty much any Scotch you can get under $40, short of something that's like aggressively on sale. And then 85 each. Is that right? Yes. Virginia Cabernet Cask, very chocolatey, very sherry bomb adjacent. And Balblair, which is completely its own weird, unique thing, but worth a shot. And your winner for the day, by a plus, is the Virginia Cider Cask Finish, which again is a whole bunch of other stuff that isn't just cider. A little bit of a tough nut to crack at first. Initially very, very austere, but there's a lot going on with this, and it does lighten up with water, and I'm assuming time. Yeah. Good malt. 85 plus points. And that is the video. Thanks for watching, and cheers. I will see you next week.